Feedback on idea. Renting out Wi-Fi. Will it work? Hi, everyone. I'm looking for some feedback on an idea I have about a Wi-Fi rent-out tool. Here's the situation. I'm living alone and find it annoying to pay the full Wi-Fi bill myself. Why is it annoying? It's a bill. You got to pay it. Meanwhile, I have several Wi-Fi signals in my area and would be more than happy to share the cost with someone else to get access to their Wi-Fi. Alternatively, I'd be open to renting out my Wi-Fi to others in the neighborhood. Now, before we go any further, Wi-Fi is all about location, though. How close are you to the router, right?
Correct.
So if you're talking about getting from the building across the street, you're not going to be happy with that Wi-Fi. It's going to be slow, and you're not going to be too pleased, even if you're paying less.
So let's assume proximity is not an issue.
All right, so let's assume they have access points everywhere. Okay.
No,
they did this years ago at Rittenhouse Square, where you know what I'm talking about. A couple of people got together, and a couple of the people that had owned the apartments, and they put access points all over Rittenhouse Square, so they had Wi-Fi everywhere.
Yep.
And it was beautiful. And then the city shut it down because they wanted to do the citywide Wi-Fi, which never came to fruition.
Correct.
Sometimes, I'm back to this story, when I'm in sometimes when my Wi-Fi is down, I get really frustrated and wish I could connect to a nearby network. I'd be willing to pay a small fee to the owner for access during those times. I was thinking that in metro cities where almost every home has a Wi-Fi connection, but only a few users are actually connected at any given time, it might make more sense for people to rent out their Wi-Fi. This could reduce the number of separate connections needed, especially since most Wi-Fi networks can support up to 10 users without any issues. And then it goes on to talk about tariffs, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm curious, would you guys be open to paying for shared Wi-Fi access? Why or why not? Also, is there a real demand for something like this? Apparently he's in India, but let's assume it's anywhere. I'm considering developing a tool for it, but I want to gauge the need first. All right. You want to start or you want me to start?
I'll let you start.
You let me start.
And
Okay.
then I'll chime in.
The ISPs will never allow it. They will never allow you to do this.
Correct.
They will immediately crack down on it. Nope. They will immediately crack down on it.
In this country.
In this country. I'm not sure about other countries. I'm talking about the U.S.
Yeah.
They will immediately crack down on it because your user agreement when you sign up says that you are the one using it in your home or for your business, and you won't allow anyone else to use it without proper blah 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 blah.
That is
and they will immediately shut it down. That's number one. Number two is whose name's on that account, because they're the ones that are going to be getting served with the subpoenas when the person's downloading movies and video and music files and things like that.
Yep.
And Verizon or whoever gets that subpoena from the federal courts wanting to know, okay, who do we go after for downloading our content illegally? Yep. And then number three is you say 10 people can use Wi-Fi at the same time. It's really 10 devices because each person has a computer, or a laptop, maybe a tablet, a phone. I mean, one person has 4 or 5 devices alone. Internet of Things, your watch, right?
I had to install a second device, a second router at my house.
Yeah.
Just because of the Amazon Alexa
right.
Connected devices in my house.
Because it's content, it's always connected. Always.
They are now running on a separate network.
Yeah, because they are hogs. They hog up your absolutely. So is it a good idea? Oh, sure. I love the idea. It's community Wi-Fi. Everyone pays a little bit less. ISPs will hate it, and therefore they won't allow it.
Correct.
But please go ahead.
So I think it's a great idea if you can find a way to execute it, right? And that's what it comes down to is, can you buy because in this case you would have to buy a commercial connection from an ISP, right? But if you, just like they did at Rittenhouse Square, if they have a commercial connection and everybody that's on there, there's already tools out there that allow you to meter usage or how long you're connected.
Right.
And you could make it a pay by the minute or pay by the hour, right? And a lot of people don't realize this, but there are still places in the world where you have internet cafes.
Oh, yeah. They
right?
still exist, yeah.
So those are people that don't want to pay for full-time internet because in a lot of places around the world,
it's very expensive.
And they don't use the internet like we use it here, right? Like,
the internet's ingrained in our lives. You can't get by without it here.
Correct. But like when I go to this tiny little town in South America, I was always surprised to find out that probably only about 30% of the population actually had an internet connection running into their house. a lot of them were already doing what this guy is talking about, right? Because the walls there are relatively thin. There's very few windows. Like, signal travels pretty far. So you can get 5-6 homes that are all located close to another, put a decent router into one of the houses, and everybody has access to it, right? So people are already doing this and sharing the cost, but it's always someone's name on it. So all he's talking about doing is just, if you can develop something where people could do this, and, you know, if they agree, oh, you're going to pay based on usage, that's really what the tool would be then.
Now, he's in India. I don't know what the rules are over there, so maybe that'll work over there. But it's not going to work here. It's not going to work here in the US.
At the end of the day, if this could be done, but I don't think the business is renting out the Wi-Fi. I think the business is selling the software or the tracking of who is using the internet for people that want to do this.
Right.
Because if you're just a software provider that says, hey, we're just going to track what IPs or what MAC addresses are logging onto the network, and then we're going to calculate usage based on who owns what MAC address.
Yeah, again, from a legal side of things, the thing I'd be most terrified about is those lawsuits, the downloading lawsuits. I'm telling you, I've been before federal judges on these things, and I heard a federal judge one time say to me, because the issue was that there were, I think, 8 people living in the house, and then that was the upstairs, and then downstairs there were more people, and they were all sharing the Wi-Fi. Yeah. And the judge said, and this is before we were even at trial, then tell your client to go to every one of them and buck up because someone's paying for this. So he was like, if you can't figure out who it was, everyone's responsible, even though he was the account holder. It was like, then tell him to go to everybody and get some money because someone's paying for this.
Oh, I remember back in the day, they used to just have open Wi-Fi everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you could walk into a Burger King or McDonald's.
Right.
And just connect, and there was no verify who you are.
Right.
No,
no agree to our terms kind of thing.
Correct. But that's kind of what I'm saying is, I know when I go into a Starbucks, right, or a Burger King or any of these, and I am required to log in to do it. That is so that if I go in and I download a Warner Brothers movie, they can track who downloaded the actual Warner Brothers movie.
They'll track it to your MAC address, right.
So what I'm saying is, this theoretically would work the same way as free Wi-Fi at restaurants. The difference is you're just deciding to bill people based on their usage.
Sure.
And if you have something in place that says, if you download this and this is your MAC address, you're getting that subpoena.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be the MAC address, because if you're using it, there's a credit card involved anyway, right? Because you have to pay for it. So,
well, once again, in parts of the world, there are people that do not have credit cards.
Right.
Like, I saw firsthand where people were literally using like there's a kiosk that says pay your bills here.
Oh, sure.
And they're still like wiring money to pay for bills,
I've
right? So considering where he is from, I think in those parts of the world, this is far more executable than it is necessarily in more of the evolved countries as far as like legalities go, and the contracts and the willingness to come after you. Because most European or US or Canada or the ISPs would come cracking down on this so fast that you wouldn't even know what happened.
Yeah, they wouldn't allow it. They wouldn't allow it. All right, but in India, maybe it's a good business idea. I mean, I like the idea in general anyway.
I like the idea in general.
I hope you can do it, and I'd love to be a part of something like that here, because internet gets expensive, and I know I don't use all my bandwidth all the time at all, and anywhere close to it.
Right now, nobody's using the bandwidth at my house.